So today's tax question is coming from Vineet. Vineet wants to know what happens if someone does not report their foreign bank accounts to IRS, to FinCEN, and they die. What happens then? Does IRS still comes after them? Do they penalize them? What can they do? So it's a tricky question. So I thought perhaps I should make a video and post it on YouTube, and that way anybody else has a similar problem, they will get the answer as well. Um, it's getting late at night, so excuse me if I sound a little tired. It's been a long day, but let's talk about that. So first of all, what are we talking about here? So what happens is if you have any kind of foreign asset, especially if it's more than $10,000 in aggregate of total value, then you must file the FBAR reporting. And if you don't file it, then there are penalties. And in this case, sounds like Vineet is saying that the gentleman who was supposed to file that FBAR report had died, and now he wants to know, should we worry about it? Should we not worry about it? So that's the major question here. All right, Vineet. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys the schedule here. Let me see one second. So let's take a look at this tax return, right? On your 1040, that's your individual tax return that most of us file. One of the major critical questions these days is this digital asset question. You see, at any time during 2023, did you receive as a reward, award, or payment for property or service, or sell, exchange, or otherwise dispose of digital assets, or a financial interest in a digital asset? So this question is quite obvious. IRS is starting to ask this question right on the front page. But if you notice that they're not asking you anything about your foreign income anywhere on your 1040, at least not on these pages. But if you go to Schedule B right here, and if you go to the Part 3, you will see this Part 3 is all about your foreign accounts. You must complete this part if you had over $1,500 of taxable interest or ordinary dividends, had a foreign account, or received a distribution from, or were a grantor of, or transferred to a foreign trust. That means anytime you have an account outside of the United States, you must fill this out. So let's pay attention to it a little bit. At any time during 2023, did you have any financial interest in or a signatory authority or a financial account such as bank account, securities account, brokerage account located in a foreign country? So when Vineet say that the person did not file a FBAR, what he's really saying is that more than likely he had the accounts and he clicked on no. So that's where the problem begins, because obviously there was an account and he said no. If yes, you're required to file FinCEN Form 114, report a foreign bank and financial accounts. To report that financial interest or signatory authority, see FinCEN Form 114 and its instruction for filing requirement. If you're required to file FinCEN Form 114, list the name of the foreign countries where financial accounts are located. So basically, what happens if you click no and in reality the answer is yes? Well, number one problem happen is that now you have committed a fraud, because you have to sign that tax return, and if you click no and the answer was yes, that is perjury, and that can get you in a lot of trouble. So you may ask me, okay, Deepak, I understand that, but what kind of trouble are we talking about here? So there are two types of trouble. One is, was this selection, this no, was that willfully or was it done non-willfully? So if it's a willful act, that means you click no, which is obviously willful because you knew that the account existed. Then the penalties are up to $250,000 per violation, and on top of that, there are also criminal penalties. They can even put you in jail for 5 years, 10 years if they find that there's some kind of money laundering or some sort of major fraud going on. So pretty bad penalties when it's willful. If it's a non-willful violation, then penalties are as little as $10,000. So still painful, but pretty bad. Now, what happens in this case? Well, one of the options IRS gives you is, hey, before IRS comes after you, you can choose to go for an amnesty program. And if you go for an amnesty program, they'll still penalize you a little bit. And we have done tons of those amnesty programs for people. But at least you will not have to deal with those willful and non-willful penalties. So that's one advantage you have. So in this case, if IRS is not coming after you and you just know that these accounts were not reported, so one option you would have is you as a trustee of that deceased person estate, can actually file for amnesty program. And if you qualify for that amnesty program, then you pay a little bit of penalty and you're good to go. And if you don't do that, then IRS can come after you and they can penalize you to the maximum extent. So you may be wondering, well, you know, if the person is already deceased, would IRS be a little bit more lenient? Would they, let it slide? Can we do something about it? So there was a recent case in which a similar thing happened, where a person, the trustee of the estate filed for an abatement of penalties, because IRS did came after them, and they said, hey, look, there's X dollar of penalties you must pay. And the trustee said, well, the person is dead, so perhaps we should not penalize the family members. Unfortunately, courts disagreed. The court said that, look, in this case, the reporting was due several years ago, I think 5-6 years ago, and person has consistently not reported for multiple years. So even though he died, but this act happened when he was alive, and that's why penalties are valid, and IRS has full rights to collect it from the estate of that deceased person. There was no relief rewarded for those penalties. So my advice to you, be very careful with that. It can be very, very risky, very, very tricky. So don't wait for IRS to come after you. If you have that problem, reach out to us. Let us help you with it. We can file for an amnesty program if you qualify. So first step is to set up a proper consultation. We need to understand your case, and if it makes sense, then we can file for that amnesty program and take care of that. Now, if IRS is already coming after you, if they're already sending you letters, they have already figured it out that there was a willful or non-willful violation, then pay attention to the letters they're sending you. Is it a willful? Is it a non-willful? If it's a willful violation, then obviously it's going to be extremely painful, and you need to really talk to IRS and see if they can reduce that penalty or at least make it non-willful. So if you want my opinion on it, definitely reach out to me, set up a consultation appointment. I'd be happy to take a look and give you my opinion on it. You can always talk to an attorney if you're deciding to go to the court with this. But if indeed you did not report the foreign bank accounts, when I say you, mean the person who is deceased now. If he didn't really report it, then IRS does have rights to go after the estate. Unfortunately, there's really not much you can do. So be very careful with this one. All right. I hope that answered that question and it will be helpful to everybody else. If you guys have a tax questions, you want to figure out how to reduce your taxes, you want to know how to grow your business, I'm always here to help. Just reach out to me, set up a consultation appointment on taxcodeadvisors.com. I'll see you soon. Thank you.